beast. It's a pretty cool gig, man. You get to hang out a lot of places not a lot of people get to go. You get to walk right up to gigantic power lines and not touch them, because I don't want to die. Living life on the edge. Why are you guys being such sweeties? Hmm? Look at the little sweetie. They've all had a little bit of snuggle time. Aww. I've already been petting him for a few minutes. This one's just chilling. Hi. Okay, had enough. Look at them, the little sweeties. They like it. They made me run for it for a while. We had to play some games. Playing catch the chicken. Learn them to perch. Hello. 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 Here. Walk on my hand. Here. Walk on my hand. See? You can do it. You can do it. There you go. Good start. That's a good start. Anyway. Oh yeah, getting some color. Hey guys, check this out. This is a voltmeter. Got my negative sending lead in the ground. My positive taking lead in the tomato. And we're getting a millivolt reading of, seems to be hovering around 110. It's showing a little lower right now. It's kind of reading funky. Could be these pots. There we go, now it's counting into the alkaline end of the spectrum. Getting kind of funky readings. I've had better readings doing this with plants that are just growing directly in the ground. Never tried it on these potted ones before. Yeah, that's definitely weird and unnatural. But yeah, the idea is negative is alkaline, positive acidic. And this is volts DC, millivolts DC. Yeah, the readings are different times of day. Depends on where the sun is in the sky. Early morning is the highest reading. Middle of the day is like the lowest reading, and then in the evening it kind of climbs back up. And I was doing some reading last year about this, and it turns out that basically the plant stores voltage in the fruit, and then during the day when it's doing photosynthesis and sunlight and all of that, it sends its water first of all down below, down into the lowest part of its roots, or like in these pots down into the pan. You can study this really easily with the plants in a pot, because during the heat of the day they'll send their water down into that pan, and then as soon as the sun starts really going down and they're in shadow again, they slurp that water right back up. So they're pumping water, and then they're pumping voltage in and out of their fruit. The fruit's like a storage device, much like our muscles in our body are storage devices for reserve voltage. But then when they're doing that photosynthesis and everything, they're working on growing their stems. And so it's like they take that voltage and put it towards growth, which is really interesting because it's analogous to what we do with our body voltage. Like when we get injured, we send high voltage, negative 50 millivolts to that area, along with a bunch of stem cells and vitamins, minerals, nutrients, everything the body needs to build new cells in that messed up area. We send it there, and it's pretty similar to what plants are doing. I'll show more of this when I get some bigger, juicier stuff, and maybe at my sister's garden or my garden back at home in Portland, I'll be able to do it with a plant that isn't in a pot, and the voltmeter will have a little easier time reading that. I'll share that up, but this for now. The real question is, what's it taste like? A little bit sweet. It obviously was underripe. I find that the higher the voltage, the sweeter the tomatoes. Last year I had some that were reading off at negative 215 millivolts. It's a lot of voltage. It's a lot of voltage. And then when you eat that, you just hope that your stomach acid is such that it can actually extract that voltage. Ever since I started thinking about it this way, my health has just gone through the roof, comparatively speaking. My regeneration abilities have sped up exponentially. So it's cool stuff. I kid you not, my most prized possession in this world is my collection of herbs that I pick fresh, mostly that I grow myself, and salts, fancy natural salts. Got a bunch of bags here, drying out some stuff. Got some dandelion. I think I'm gonna throw that in some soup later. All kinds of flavor, man, and health benefits, supposedly, you know. So, yeah, of all the things I own, which are mostly just tools for doing work, the thing I care about most is my collection of herbs and salt. Recollecting me Irish ancestors' pillaged wealth, one little scrap at a time. Oh my gosh. I wreck this meat suit. Obvi. I treat it kind of like my cars. My cars are equally some of the best maintained cars you'll ever see, while also being some of the most piece of shit cars you'll ever see. I fucking hate cars, man. Money pits. Non-stop. I haven't taken a car to a shop in 15 years. So every damn time something needs done on the thing is me doing it. And so I try to treat him nice, but man, I'm a busy guy. I'm always doing shit. Like, I got places to be, people to see. Ain't got no time for no breakdowns or, you know. Anyway. I really don't get enough rest. I've been falling off of my physical therapy ever since I started doing this electrical work full time last year. I mean, I'm telling you, I'd gone like 5 years straight, daily, spending 4 hours a day doing physical therapy, you know, drinking specific stuff, eating specific stuff, water fasting, intermittent fasting, doing all this stuff to try to heal my busted as fuck body, which didn't really hit the turning point until end of 2019, and then You know, early 2020 was a little rough, but that little first lockdown gave me an opportunity to relax and kind of catch up. But man, it's like I'm not responsible enough to have a fully functioning, just fluid, lean, mean fighting machine of a body. I'm not responsible enough. Because whenever I get to not feeling like shit, dude, I just fucking go as hard as I can until I feel like shit again. That's what this shit's all about. I'm still growing. I'm still trying to heal from insane, massive, gnarly level physical disability, the likes of which were so unfathomable that the only people I'd met in the last 15 years that understood me were busted old guys who worked hard their whole lives and like military veterans. Those are the only people that knew that for my whole 20s, I was literally in an 80, 90-year-old's body. Right? So I'm like getting younger with time, and it's super fucking weird. I mean, maybe that explains a little bit of why my brain works the way it does, or why I've experienced life the way I have. Because I'm completely off of timelines. Like, my life doesn't have anything to do with anybody's expectation of what a timeline in life looks like. On every level, man. I have nothing to do with any of that. It's fucking ridiculous. And that is why I highly, 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 highly recommend this book. It is all about how to basically take a rolling pin to your muscles and smash out scar tissue and lymph fluid and damage. One muscle at a time. See, it's showing literally all the tiny little places that cause problems. And it explains it all. Now you go to ask any mainstream source about this book, and they straight up call it pseudoscience. And this book actually even says that in its intro. It admits where its flaws are in its arguments. But, you know, now in the last couple of years, so much info has come out that would corroborate what this book is saying. But back when it was written, I don't even remember when that was, this was like the only book of its kind anywhere. You couldn't find this information because you had to already know what it was called to even look it up. Like, that's how these search engines work. You have to know the keywords or it will not give you the keys. Like, if you don't know what a specific area of thought or theory or whatever is called, the internet's not going to tell you about it existing. Google isn't going to tell you about it. They just will not. It doesn't matter how many pages of Google you click through. You won't find this unless you know what it's called. So anyway, highly recommend it. This book, first of all, helped me rehab the right side of my body that was atrophied from head to toe. It was completely disconnected from my brain. Other than pain signals, there was nothing. Like, muscles didn't move. There was no neural programming, no pathways, no communication between, the brain box and the meat suit. It wasn't there. It was gone. This book healed that. And then on top of that, it gave me a weird ability to understand everybody else's pain. Like, if you just describe to me some physical pain, I could come up with a series of questions about your history of injuries, and from that deduce exactly where that trigger point is. Like, Hands off. I don't even have to do a massage or anything. And I can. I'm really good at it. Not licensed. I don't practice this. I just tell people about it. Like, hey, this changed my life. If you want to check it out, check it out. But, yeah. It's a wacky, wacky book. And, if you're experiencing major physical degradation, I'd say it's one of the key books for getting back on the horse and growing instead of just falling into entropy and popping right out of this world, which I thought I was going to do for several years. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy to be here still and be alive, because I did not believe that I was going to make it to this age. I didn't believe it. And that ain't no sob story. I'm not going to go too much deeper into that right now. I'm just kind of putting that out there little bits at a time. But, you know, that's the perspective I'm coming from. I'm literally regrowing from injuries that every professional I ever got the opportunity to talk to told me were incurable. They said there's nothing you can do about that. Pretty fucked, honestly. And you know what? Speaking of those certain types of licensed professionals, just gonna leave it there. I don't want to drop too many trigger words for the algorithms, but the stupidest shit I've ever heard in this world came out of the mouths of those types of professionals. I kid you not. They knew dog shit. They were good for dog shit. I don't have insurance. I've had insurance for like maybe a total of a year's worth of time in the last 12 years of my life. I don't have it. I don't want it. I don't need it. When it's my time, push me in a hole, fill it with dirt. I don't give a fuck, but I will not have anything to do with that. I can tell you that much. Check out that array. Man, it's only like 10 feet up from the top of this little building. You know, I think quantum physics is kind of bullshit. I've studied a lot of it, even into the MIT's video rabbit hole and all that good stuff. I haven't been looking at that stuff for a long time. It's been catching on in popularity. You know, I've read entire books that are trying to, like, tell you, like, look, the Bible is trying to tell you that quantum physics is actually the truth. And it's like, okay, that's an ad for a different religion using an established religion's text. Cool. Easy to spot that. Anyway, I don't want to meander and ramble too much, but basically I think quantum physics is bullshit because it's basically just atheistic metaphysics, right? It's still just metaphysics, the whole conceptual part of it, the whole conceptual framework. It's really dumb, but it's useful in one way. It's good for trying to get people to think a little more abstractly and a little more correctly. Unfortunately, it's still a bunch of falsehoods and lies, but since people in general have been somewhat predictably programmed to know that quantum physics is a thing and that it's super crazy and weird and abstract and interesting and sort of opens up possibilities that materialist science, you know, have squashed. It's like people know about it, so you can use it to get some ideas across. Still, stupid. Anyway, one thing about quantum physics is this whole multiple timelines concept. And it's this idea that not every choice, but certain choices cause your timeline to fork, and then a duplicate universe exists where one of the choices you made is the opposite of what you made in this universe. And so that whole other universe exists that way. And so it's like, in this universe, the Great Awakening happened, but in that universe, Armageddon happened. I think that's such a dumb way of looking at it. Like, it's trying to be abstract, but it's really not that abstract. It's just like kind of basic. I don't know. They're like, ooh, it's a little complicated to think about, so we'll try to make it simple. And it's like, no. Anyway, I just watched a video yesterday that was an interview with a quantum physics professor. I hadn't watched anything like that in a long time, and I was like, yeah, that's why I don't watch that shit anymore. It's dumb. Because he was describing what I just described. He even talked about God and how, like, God doesn't care about quantum physics. Quantum physics is for us to try to understand the universe, right? And so I was like, oh, nice, Mr. Professor. Anyway, the way I look at this multiple timelines thing, because I've been thinking about that for years, multiple timelines. I don't think about it like there's literally multiple me's across multiple universes that are running, and there's literally physical, tangible worlds where a totally different me is going through the end of the world, or, you know, dying while I'm currently living, and all this crazy stuff. I don't see it that way. I see the multiple timelines as an abstraction, as a metaphysical idea, a conceptual, psychological, spiritual concept that is the process by which we make the decision that we're then going to make here in the physical world, in this realm, right? It's like those are the other realms, the layers of realms where in your mind, in your dreams, in your subconscious, all of that, you're navigating these weird other realms and being faced with problems, and those problems are kind of allegories for the problems you're currently facing and trying to solve and make a decision on, right? And so those other universes are actually just those realms. The astral realm, maybe, which is why, you know, the astral realm could be hijacked, or a part of it, a layer of it, which is definitely something I think has happened for all these remote viewer types. I think those are like the Palantirs in Lord of the Rings, you know, the little crystal balls where if you look in them, you're supposed to be able to look all over the world like you're looking at a bunch of cameras that are placed everywhere. But because Sauron's in charge of those crystal balls, if you look in one, all it does is take you to him, right? That's like a little allegory for astral realm hijacking, I think. And what I'm talking about is this quote-unquote astral realm that people are talking about, the other realms of thought and, you know, spirituality and concepts, and the world where we navigate through it to figure out the answers so that we do the right thing in this material, tangible realm, maybe. Because I only think there's one of these. I don't know what I think for sure about cosmology and the way it's all arranged and the different space theories and earth-shaped theories and whatnot, but what I do think is there's only one of these, the way this is, for whatever that's worth. But anyway, multiple timelines. One other way that I look at the timelines, the multiple timelines concept, I talked about in an earlier video on selling your soul, I think. Either that or it was people of color. But anyway, I was just talking about how I am constantly in different towns and in different places for periods of time, and how to me that's like timeline jumping, and how I don't really focus on the time spent away. You know, each time I go to one of the other places I'm at, and I run into my people, for me, it's mentally like we were just hanging out yesterday, but yesterday is the last day that we were together, right? I'm on these compartmentalized, separate timelines. That doesn't mean I'm radio silent, but that's just how I deal with jet lag, I guess. I try not to get jet lag. It's just, I'm here now. Where'd we leave off? How's it going? Been 5 years. You know, that kind of thing. But that's one way of looking at it. There's a mental compartmentalization. But it's like this multiple timeline idea is almost like, I don't know, I was just thinking about it. It's like, you know, on my sister's timeline, I go over there and hang out and work on the garden and stuff every couple weeks. And it's like there's the timeline where we're hanging out together, but then that timeline continues on in my absence. It's like did a tree fall over in the woods if no one was there to hear it, kind of thought experiments. It's like my absence doesn't mean everything else on that timeline of being present doesn't just continue right along. My absence, when I leave the group, breaks off into a different timeline relative to that group. And that's where all these multiple timelines are coming from, is it's the realms, the layers of thought, the astral realm, all this stuff. And then it's also your physical presence within space and within time and within groups of other presences, other people, you know, present in space. Yeah, maybe this sounds dumb. Sure it could. I'm just kind of ranting or having some verbal diarrhea, but that's how these ideas are. You know, even at the highest levels, when people are talking about these kind of ideas, it's not like they're sitting there and showing you a bunch of equations and facts and figures. They're kind of just talking about the sort of things that are going on in their mind based on all the time they spend doing their research and study and experimentation and math and all that stuff, right? But the math doesn't necessarily show it. It's their wheels spinning about it all, right? So anyway, quantum physics is just atheistic metaphysics, and the multiple timelines exist in multiple ways, but I personally don't think that they exist in the sense that there are literally thousands of copies of this one literally playing out in a material fashion. I think that those realms are for us to figure stuff out before they become material, right? It's the whole Schrodinger's cat thing, dead or alive in the box, got to be an observer to be affected, and particle entanglement, quantum entanglement, all that stuff. It's like, I think that's an entry point to thinking about some of this kind of stuff. But I think if you really want to get to the meat and potatoes of it, you got to look at, you know, all the metaphysics and philosophy, and then also, more importantly, just live life and see how those concepts actually apply and make any sense at all in relationship to all of this knowledge, right? But that's just me. I'm not one to see a piece of knowledge, believe in it hard for a little while, and then go, fuck this, I'm done with this, it's bullshit, and then burn it. I don't do that. I just collect and collect and collect and collect, and I never buy anything hook, line, and sinker. I never believe anything just because somebody tells it to me. Like, I believe that they believe that, but I don't necessarily just, oh my gosh, I believe that now because it fits with me or stuck. No. I don't do that. It's not super easy to program me or to predictively program me. Yeah, I know that everything is predictive programming, but there's also a lot of different things. So there's a lot of competing predictive programming. It's not so simple as it's predictive programming, so it's there to fuck you. It's like, anyway, now I'm just rabbit holing. I better stop. All right. So I know a person or two, at least, is anticipating or eagerly anticipating my video on the significance and the importance and the installation of the neutral wire in an electrical circuit. Don't worry, I'm working on that video. It's almost done. Sorry it wasn't this one, but I still have a little more drawing to do, a little more meditating to do, visualizing on the topic, testing articulations to make sure that it's concise and gets across the point that I'm trying to make. But what I will say is every single one of these videos is connected. They're all related. So while I'm finishing that one, I encourage y'all to just go and check out the rest of them, because even if the title doesn't seem right or the intro doesn't seem like it's related, they're all related. I got a couple of different things going on. One is I want information to be free, right? I found that the truth is free. Anyone that says otherwise is selling something. I'm pretty sure that was the Dread Pirate Roberts that said that, Princess Bride. But it's a fact. It's a fact. Everything that I have found for information has been free. At least the good stuff, the real stuff, the best stuff has always been free. And I'm trying to go along with that vein. The other thing is I don't really want to create barriers to entry. I'm not trying to make it difficult to access my information. Like, ooh, I got secrets. Come over here and let me lead you down this dark passageway before you get the secret. Like, I'm not trying to pull that shit. But I do put intros in for a reason. And it's to try to shed the trolls, right? I don't want to deal with trolls. I don't want to deal with people who are just trying to stir stuff up and not really, chew on and contemplate the ideas and kind of exercise their mind a little bit on the topic. So that's why what I'm doing for intros tends to be a little critter cuddling, okay? Because if you think that's cute and enjoyable, then you probably have a soul. You probably have a heart. And you're probably going to be somebody that's more capable of seeing these ideas in the way that I'm presenting them, and also, somebody that I have the energy to really connect with, one-on-one, conversate with, discuss these ideas. Comment threads, guys. Hit me up in the comment threads. I really want to visit about this stuff. Like, throw it in there, I got a thick skin. I'm looking for criticism. I'm looking for agreement. I'm looking for alternate ways of looking at things. I just always want to see things from a new perspective. I get bored, with my own and all the other ones I'm already looking at. So it's like, give me another lens, give me another lens. I want to see this thing from as many angles as possible. So chat it up, chat it up. So basically what I'm saying is catch up on the other videos. Do me that favor so that you're ready for this one about the neutral wire. I'm going to be naming it probably something like Escaping Mind Control, which means it will be like the sequel to the video I already have about mind control, right? I get into the neutral wire thing a little bit, but I mostly just talk about making another video about the subject. So just go brush up on that. Get ready for this next one. Just know that the whole point of the way I'm trying to articulate these ideas is to communicate and try to impart or stimulate or encourage a very visual approach to ideation, right? I've been, studying Tesla quotes for most of my life, and I'm no expert like on Tesla or a lot of this stuff, but what I learned from Tesla's stories and his quotes was a mindset about his process for developing his inventions, right? And basically what he said was that he didn't like tinkerers. He didn't like people that like just messing around with tools and parts and pieces and metals and just experimenting and, oh, whoa, I didn't expect that. He didn't like that. He thought that was the stupidest thing ever. What he did was he thought about something and he dreamed about something. You know, have you ever done that where you go into the dream world to solve problems? It's pretty cool. I've done it in a bunch of different capacities, but you can basically go, say it's school. You can be doing homework till late at night and then be like, okay, whatever, I'm stepping away. Go to bed. And in dream world, you don't have to deal with paper, you don't have to deal with pencils, you don't have to deal with erasing something to be able to try a different option, you don't have to turn pages, you don't have to get carpal tunnel wearing out your writing hand. You just sit there and you just move it all around, just blam, whoa, just smash it together. You get an idea about it, just do it. Smash those numbers together, see what happens, right? So you can actually solve your dilemmas in your homework. You can solve the roadblocks, the stuff that you're just not getting. You know, you're banging your head against the wall for hours and it's really feeling like a waste of time. Go to sleep on it. Go to sleep on it with intention and visualize. Just fix that problem in your sleep. I guarantee you, man, it works. You wake up in the morning, you just go to that paper, you write it out. Solved, right? I did that in college. Especially in accounting school, which is part of the reason I quit. I was like, dude, I'm not even interested in money magic, and I really don't want to be thinking and dreaming money magic 24/7, 365. So I quit. But that's the mindset. That's what Tesla taught. That's what I've been trying to learn, and that's what I'm trying to show. So start trying that stuff, and you'll find more and more and more that you don't need my explanations of these symbols. You don't need somebody else's explanation of these symbols. You'll find that with your focus and intention and meditation and theurgy and retroduction and dreaming, you know, astral realm problem solving or whatever, however you want to think about it, you'll find that the knowing, the gnosis, comes to you. And you will just begin to see these things instead of having to read somebody else talk about these things or watch videos of somebody else talking about these things. This right here is the whole point of these videos at the end of the day. I really don't expect everything I say to be true to everyone, you know. I know that I'm going to end up facing some kind of criticism or scrutiny because, you know, there are going to be people with degrees and educations in things that I'm talking about who are not going to agree with what I'm saying. But I take it as a confirmation if someone like that does agree with what I'm saying, because it means that my visualization and study and contemplation of ideas is working to tap in to the truth of things. So anyway, that bit about Tesla was that he would do all of that mind exploration, and then he would just sit down and build the thing, and it would work. And it would do exactly what he wanted. There were no surprises. It didn't do anything he didn't design it to do. It wasn't like how so much of electrical theory is all just theory, and it's like, whoa, it does the stuff we don't expect. Like, that wasn't really his experience as much. Like, he would visualize the whole thing and build it. And then if he wanted to tinker with it or change it, he would go back to the drawing board in his head and redesign it and then build that. And then the other thing about his work was that, or at least his story and his quotes and his work, another really important aspect of it was that he tried to make it clear to people that he wasn't trying to invent technology. He was trying to teach people what the human body and the human mind and the human soul is capable of, right? He was trying to teach people that, hey, this is all cybernetics. Literally everything about all of this technology is just extracted from the mind, the capability, the potential of humans. It's all just external representations of internal properties. So he wasn't trying to invent technology for the most part, and he wasn't trying to sell a bunch of stuff and make a bunch of money. And he actually, from what I can tell, built very few of his ideas because he recognized that some of this stuff, like the story of the infamous death ray that he supposedly made or whatever, like, he learned lessons about how if he were to build that, that might totally ruin the world. And so he was learning about manifestation, and he was going through the process of trying to decide, like, is this something I want to put into existence? I don't think so. So he focused on pieces of technology that would teach humanity what humanity itself is capable of. I'm telling you guys, Tesla was a quote-unquote Tartarian, right? There's a bunch of other people who are alive today that are also in that category. And I guess what I'm trying to say is these videos are about that understanding, that mindset about the universe and the way it works and technology, right? And the responsibility that comes with it. Because, I mean, so many bad things could happen if, you know, certain things fall into the wrong hands. So people have to have some kind of foundation of, like, ethical, moral, philosophical, something framework to stand on for that, or else it's just a full-blown free-for-all. And full-blown free-for-all is kind of why we are where we're at. So, anyway, I'm rambling, I'm rabbit-holing, but those are some thoughts. Try to chew on that, finish some of the other videos, and I'll have this one out maybe in another week. I'm only doing a video every few weeks. I just stack some footy over the days, and part of the reason for that is I don't want the feed to get clogged. I don't want any one of these videos to just become, you know, superfluous or unimportant. Like, they're all important, they're all connected, they're all very thoughtful, and I've spent time with them. So, for whatever that's worth. Thanks for watching, you guys. It means a lot to me. Oh yeah. I've been working on this old Dodge pickup. I'm going to stick a camper on it, go on some trips, drive down to Mexico, see some people maybe. Gotta make brake lines for it though, but went and bought the tool for doing that, so now I can do that whenever I want. Now, I know what you're thinking, and that is, that's a mighty old truck to be driving thousands of miles in. But, you know, that's a valid point. I know plenty of people who get these ideas of tie-dye painting up some old school bus and driving it around on a music tour. And every single time, that shit breaks down. Not that far away, but too far away to just hitch a ride back. And then they have to cancel all their dates and everything changes. So, what I know about these old suckers is It's all about intention and attention. So giving this truck all the attention. It's going to be good to go. Check it out. All brand new. Going through everything. Literally all of it. There will not be a part of this engine I haven't peeked at, worked on, cleaned up, and prepared. So, thing's gonna look like an old beater, but it's gonna run pretty close to new in a lot of ways. I'm super stoked to get that camper on there, be able to show that, be able to hang out in it. It's pretty sweet. It's old also, but it's got style. It was all custom done up by a Burning Man chick who ended up having to go home and focus on like growing up and going back to school during 2020. So I ended up buying that off of her, and it's a gorgeous piece of art in its own way. And once I get that sucker on here, gonna have me a little studio on wheels, and I'm gonna go everywhere that I can possibly imagine. Just gonna follow that call, see where it leads me. Oh man, oh man. Oh. Spent all day yesterday working on my truck. I don't think I'm ever gonna get this underbody paint off my hand. I have a little gypsy camper I want to put on the back of that thing. So it's bedboard time out in the mountains and away from the city. I want to spend a lot more time writing and editing and meditating, stargazing. I want to spend more time doing that sort of stuff. Less time working. Always working. It's like all I do. It's just work. I also have like a terabyte of video footage spanning like the year 2017, 18, and 19. A bunch of kind of documentary type footage. It's a ton of editing to do, and I don't really want to do it. It's not time sensitive. It's a bunch of live music and shows and stuff from Portland, Oregon. Music scene there was pretty interesting, I'll say. If you want to check that out, you can check it out on my other channel, but probably gonna keep these two separate. Hello. You little silly. You little silly. What are you doing? What are you doing?